Hello, my friends! On today's episode, we review the Avengers Infinity War. Avengers Infinity War. It's a pretty good movie. Pretty damn good. Not as good as the Black Panther, but this was way better than the last Avengers film. What was that called again? Age of Ultron? But yeah, this is definitely the best Avengers film. Definitely high up there in terms of the Marvel movies in general, certainly. I'm gonna let you all know right now, there's gonna be some spoilers in this review. Alright, so let's talk about how this movie winds up being one of the better Marvel films. Now, to do that, let's actually briefly talk about Age of Ultron. I remember walking out of Age of Ultron thinking that was really kind of subpar. And I think the reason why is because it was too unfocused. There's too many characters. One of the most dramatic moments in that film was the death of Quicksilver. But here's the thing, we knew him for like 5 minutes. Who gives a Unibeam? So how did they fix all this? Well, the way they fixed this was they actually focused the story on the villain. In fact, basically, Thanos is the main character of Infinity War, if you're really paying attention. And this film's creators had the courage to kill off characters we actually care about. So many important characters died, like Gamora, Star-Lord, Doctor Strange, Black Panther, Spider-Man, and, gonna call you Squirrel Girl? Sure, let's go with that. And many more fell victim to Thanos. The devastation this mad titan had wrought was truly grotesque. Yeah, I went there. Anyway, speaking of Thanos, as I said before, it was a great idea to put him as the main character. But it's also worth mentioning that they did a really good job of humanizing the Titan. The scenes between him and his daughter Gamora were certainly among the most memorable parts of the film. Plus, when he explains his reasons for using the gauntlet to eliminate half of all life, we get to understand why he came to the decision. Thanos wants to balance the universe. He thinks that the limited resources of the universe can't sustain everyone. It's his belief that the only way to save the living is to kill half of all people, so that there's enough food and resources for everyone to have a good quality of life. Now, of course, this plan is very flawed. They don't call him the Mad Titan for no reason. He's crazy. But the important thing is that we have a villain that we can, to an extent, empathize with. That said, let's poke holes into that plan of his. When the writers created this motivation for Thanos, they may have been thinking about the Black Death. The Black Death killed tons and tons of people. But for those who survived, they tended to live a better quality of life. But that doesn't mean killing tons of people is some kind of magical key for peace. Because when Thanos was talking about killing half of all people, I couldn't help but think about the time when the Democratic Republic of Congo had half of its population wiped out. This tragic event happened under the colonizing King Leopold II. And I can assure you that after all these brutal killings by this madman, the Congo did not become some kind of paradise. Despite this murderer being on level with Hitler, you probably haven't heard of him, because schools don't teach about him. So perhaps we should explore this tragic event in history in a future episode. In the meantime, let's talk about realistic ways in which we can feed all the poor and hungry of the world. The first thing that needs to be pointed out is that people are not starving due to the world not having enough resources to feed everyone. About 40% of the food grown in the United States is wasted. Some of the reasons for this include grocery stores throwing out food based on their sell-by date despite the fact that those food items are still edible. The government should be regulating companies to put better labels and dates on their food items to fix this problem. Another reason for all this waste is that a lot of grocery stores don't want to shelve irregular looking food items, because the fact is many fruits and vegetables don't always grow in the perfect way that we imagine them to be. So those stranger looking yet very much edible food products go to waste because they're never sold. Luckily, there are some organizations out there that are committed to selling these imperfect pieces of produce. So how can we get this food in the hands of people who need it? Well, for one, we could have better food stamp programs. Or we can just simply donate some of this food. Or we can have free access to higher education so that you can get better jobs so that we can afford to get the food that we need. Or we can have a massive redistribution of wealth in this country as well as other countries around the world so that the rich have to pay their fair share of taxes, and so that money can go and help people who need food and homes. There are many ways to solve world hunger. These are just a few of them. We have the resources out there. So don't be a madman like Thanos and think we don't have enough resources. And on that note, let's get back to the movie. As I said before, I really do like this film, though I do kind of wish Captain America and Black Panther had a bit more screen time. Oh, and Okoye, I love you, but why do you want Starbucks coffee? You do realize that the coffee bean originated in Africa, right? Get yourself some Ethiopian coffee. I'm sure it's better than Starbucks. Alrighty, let's wrap up this review. Avengers Infinity War. It's a really good film, and it'll make you think, and there's fun times to be had. Go check it out. So, you were looking for an Avengers review, but you didn't realize you would learn something too. And now you're wondering if you can learn more. Well, champ, you certainly can, by subscribing to Red Spirit Mask. We've got plenty of other interesting videos for you to enjoy, sport.